All right, how's it going, everybody? It has been so nice here in Minnesota. It's starting to feel like spring. And yeah, so I've been starting to get the boat ready for the open water. It's been getting warm here. There's still some ice on the lakes, but the rivers are open. So yeah, we'll hopefully be hitting the water soon here. So I've been starting to put away the ice fishing gear, starting to pull out the open water rods. And every time I grab this rod, I remember about some issues that I had. So I thought maybe I'd make a little video kind of discussing a really significant equipment failure that I had. This particular rod and reel combo, I actually had this issue happen twice, muskie fishing. The first time it happened, I thought maybe it was just a fluke. After it happened the second time, I knew I had a major issue. And so I'm just going to kind of show you what happened and what I've done to find a solution and things to just think about when it comes to rods. And so this particular rod is actually a Guide Series muskie rod from the old Gander Mountain store. And it's a budget rod, pretty inexpensive. I think this is a 7-footer. It actually fights just fine. The action is fine. I've caught big sturgeon as well as some nice muskies with this rod. The reel that I've got on here is an Abu Garcia Ambassador, which is a really popular budget reel as well. But the issue with this combination is, for some reason, this reel, when getting struck by a big muskie, there's enough flex that this reel would actually come out of the reel seat and dislodge from the connection. And so I had one nice muskie smoke a bladed bucktail, and immediately this thing popped out. And then I had another one, I think with a spinner bait, and that one I think I actually have some old film, so I'll probably add that at the end. That one, about halfway through the fight, it actually dislodged, and I was able to just hold it in place just because my hands are so big. And so I just gripped it as hard as I could against the rod for it to work. But like ultimately what I have here is I actually zip tied this like you would like an ice fishing rod. So it's not going anywhere now. This thing is solid. I've also put little plastic wedging inside of the reel seat on the underside here. But I'm going to just go ahead and take these zip ties off so I can show you a little bit more about what I'm talking about. Okay, so now that I got those zip ties off, I'm going to show you what I got going on here. If I take this reel seat off, loosen it up. So these little knobs seed into the reel seat right here, as well as right in here. And the issue, if you can see it, is this right here is not very deep. So if you can see, that bottom side of the reel seat is actually super shallow. So when this reel is sitting in there, only a little tiny bit of this is down there. And what happens is both the flex of this rod as well as the torque, or the tension rather, of the line pulling this reel up is just enough to unseat the bottom of this reel. And so honestly, even though this is a little bit cheaper rod and reel combo, it's actually like I'm pretty happy with it, aside from this reel seat section right here. These are kind of hard to switch out. So I've made a few rods, and all this just slides on the blank here, but it's a little bit hard to switch out. So it's easier for me to just adapt it with some zip ties if I still want to use this setup. I've upgraded my rod and reels for muskie. I have used this a little bit for sturgeon, but I'm more confident with it now that I know the issue and I'm able to get this locked down really tight. So it's just kind of one of those things that you want to be aware of, the different types of issues you could have. This is really just a design flaw in the reel seat by this company. And so I've actually got some footage of one of those muskies that hit and had this thing pop out on me. So hopefully that doesn't happen to you, but if it does, just grip this sucker tight and and hopefully you get lucky to keep that hook in it and keep the tension on it. So I just thought I'd kind of walk through that, because every year when I grab this rod, it's hard not to think about fishes that you've lost, either due to the hook coming out or potential equipment failures. And yeah, so this video clip that we'll be switching to features my good buddy Red and Matty Ice. So you'll see them on the water. This was several years ago, but it was just a beautiful day. And actually, I think like an hour or two before this footage, my buddy Red caught I think it was a 50.5-inch muskie. And so it was just an amazing day. It's just one of those times where they must have been actively hitting. And that was a huge fish that hit boat side with just a little MEP spinner. And he was fortunate enough to get that beautiful muskie. And then we went to another spot where we've seen them and we catch really nice northerns. And so I was lucky enough to get this hit. Unfortunately, with the equipment failure, but you'll see that in the footage. So thanks for watching.